Well, let's talk about Twitter, because you are on Twitter frequently, and I don't like Twitter. I am addicted to reading other people's tweets. I like to like and retweet, but I've wasted an entire afternoon. One example of that displays this in my mind is I made the bold statement that the third Christopher Nolan Batman movie, obviously you can see all these Batman toys behind me. I'm a fan. I like Christopher Nolan's Batman movies, but I thought The Dark Knight Rises was a little bit weaker than the other two. And that's what I put out there. And I spent like 2 hours being bombarded by Batman fans that thought I had committed heresy. No, it's the greatest of the three. It's so amazing. I'm like, guys, I'm on your side. I bought my ticket to the movie. I bought the merch. I like Batman. I just thought that one, it had a couple of weak spots. It was a little bit dumb. There's not nearly enough Batman in it. And after that, having lost 2 hours of a day, I said, well, that's enough Twitter. I'm going to put my phone over there. I don't need to tweet except when I have something genuinely interesting to say, or I'm promoting our conversation, another conversation, something on the blog. But you're on there on a pretty regular basis. So what's the best way to use Twitter? And you mentioned you're also able to communicate directly with authors and improve their work with Twitter. So how are you using it that you're enjoying it more than I am?
Well, I think that I just enjoy the flow of information. And yes, Twitter can be very toxic. And, I have, especially in maybe the last year or two, I have had to have times where I need to step away because it's a little too much. But I think that it can also be a really productive place to forge a community, to have conversations. I just really enjoy how I can get snippets of information. And I try to approach Twitter from a very positive position, especially when I'm using it in terms of my work. So one of the things that I have done basically since I got on Twitter is try to use it as a tool to provide information to writers and illustrators who can't necessarily go to writers' conferences and get industry professional information. Long ago, I ran Egmont's Twitter account. I was Egmont USA for a really long time, and that was my Twitter, and it was a corporate account.
What a huge responsibility! I would have been paralyzed with fear.
It was a lot of responsibility, and it was a corporate account, and it was very much about using it to promote our author's work. But I also used it, and I think that it was maybe one of the first accounts to do this. I think some of the other publishers' accounts have kind of come along to this over the years, but it was also a very personal experience. So, Downton Abbey was really big at that point. So I would tweet about Downton Abbey. I would tweet about, I think the Harry Potter movies were still coming out. So, I would tweet about going to see the Harry Potter movie. It was an ability to kind of connect with people. And it wasn't just about buy the book, buy the book, buy the book. It was about forging relationships with people. And I think that that's a really great lesson that writers and illustrators can take away in terms of how they can use social media to promote their work. Sure, especially around release times, you want to use that to say, come check out my work, because you want people to buy your book. But if it's constantly a barrage of buy my book, buy my book, buy my book, and that's all it is, then people just tune it out the way you tune out commercials if you still watch regular TV. Whereas if you have actually shown that there's a person behind that screen, and you've forged connections with people, and then you occasionally say, hey, I have a new book coming out and I'm really excited about it, and I hope you will be too. You have people who are going to be more excited to want to go buy that book and support you. One of the other ways that I have really enjoyed using Twitter, and it started as me participating in these myriad of Twitter chats that are now available, if you know the right times to look. But I used to regularly pop into middle grade lit chat. It was an hour every Tuesday, I think at that point, where we would just talk about a different issue in middle grade. And it was a great opportunity to hear what other people were saying. So I started a Twitter hashtag that used to be Ask Egmont, where you could ask Egmont whatever, ask whatever you want about Egmont authors or any of those things. And, when I was no longer affiliated with a publisher, that had to turn into something else. So I run a hashtag that's called Ask Kidlit. And I will, at random times, it is never scheduled, I will just pop on and say, Ask Kidlit is open. And anybody who follows me on Twitter, or even if you don't follow me, but you see the hashtag, you can just come chat. You can ask your questions about writing, and it can be really specific. How do I figure out if the pacing is not working in my particular book? Or it can be kind of more general. What are the trends you see? Do you have any book recommendations for this age group? And we kind of talk about whatever people want to talk about. I really love it when it becomes a chat and a conversation. I can't say that always happens. Often it's kind of just a Q&A forum. But even if I don't have an open session, I always have that hashtag open on my tweet deck. And so people are always free to come shoot me questions, and I will answer them. It might take me, a day or two, but I will answer them. Because I think that Twitter can really be a community to help us all push forward. And I think that's true of a lot of other editors and agents out there now who are frequently doing Twitter Ask sessions. They'll just open that up, or they'll do, I can't say that I'm 100% a fan of these 10 query things. I think the intention is in a good place to kind of teach what works and what doesn't. I'm not sure that, I think it can sometimes be hurtful. So I think we're all trying to find the right way to balance that. But it really can be a very productive place for people who don't necessarily have the geographical or financial resources or accessibility to kind of congregate for that kind of information. And it's a great way to kind of improve yourself and make connections that doesn't cost you anything.
And what is your Twitter handle for folks that are eager to follow
my
you?
Twitter handle is AliOop7, ALIOOP 7.
And I am at MG Ninja. So follow me. Look forward to my 3 tweets a week.